الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته ومنتهى علمه وجميع ما شاء وخلق وذرع وبرع عالم الغيب وشهادة الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون أما بعد فيقول الله تعالى في سورة الرعد إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم صدق الله العظيم. Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we thank Him, and in these few minutes that we have here, we want to spend a few minutes talking about Shukr. Shukr is gratitude or the state of being thankful. And we have an obligation upon us to be thankful for every single solitary blessing that we have. It is an obligation. It is an obligation of the heart. When you deal with the science of ihsan, the science of tasawwuf, the science of tazkiyah, you're dealing with primarily two things. You're dealing with takhliyah, the emptying out and the cleaning of the heart of all blameworthy characteristics, such as jealousy, hasad, ujub, conceit, kibra, arrogance, and things, and those blameworthy diseases like that. You need to look at this in the same way you would look at a glass or a cup. And those blameworthy things that I just mentioned, you want to look at that like something like defecation, urine, blood, something filthy that you wouldn't want on you, and you definitely wouldn't want it in you. So the science of purifying the heart means cleaning out those filthy things that corrupt the heart, such as the ones we had just mentioned. And then once the heart is empty and clean and purified, you want to fill it up, taqliyah. You want to adorn it, you want to decorate it. And one of the things, or some of the things that you want to decorate your heart with are things like khawf or raja, fear and hope. The believer is between the two extremes of fear and hope. He fears Allah's punishment, Allah's displeasure with him, and he also hopes for Allah's mercy. The believer is not on the extreme, or is not on any of those extremes. The believer is right in the middle. He has some fear and he has some hope. In other words, the believer doesn't sin and do more sins and do more sins and not worried about it and say, you know, Allah is Ghafur Rahim, Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. If I do what I want, Allah going to forgive me. Nor is the believer doing everything that's right, and it's like, oh man, it's still not good enough. Allah's going to punish me. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to get punished. Those are two extremes that it's not good to be at. You have to be in the middle. Another one of the characteristics that it is obligatory for us to decorate or adorn our heart with is shukr. Thankfulness, gratitude. And as Shehu Uthman Danfodio, Taqammadahu bi rahmati, may Allah envelop him with his mercy, said in his book Tariqul Jannah, The Path to Paradise, he dedicates a whole chapter to this subject. And he begins by saying that it is necessary for the believer to have shukr. He says it does two things. He says that shukr is the qaidul ni'mah. It is the yoke of ni'mah. In other words, shukr is that thing that ties your blessings down, making sure it won't leave you. And then he mentioned this verse that we just mentioned as a proof of that. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. He says, verily Allah will not change the condition of a people unless and until they change that what is with themselves. And usually when this verse is quoted, usually the meaning given to it, and it's proper, but it's not a primary meaning. It's not an usuli meaning. It's not a foundational meaning, but you can still apply it that way. The meaning given to it is, our situation is bad. We need to get right. And Allah will not get us right until we change the evil that is with ourselves. You can use the verse to mean that. But that's not why it was revealed. The reason why it was revealed is the opposite. In other words, your situation is good. You have Islam. You're establishing Islam. Everything is right. And Allah is going to keep it that way unless and until you change. And that change is lack of gratitude. You were a disbeliever. You were a kafir. And in that context, you were worshiping idols. As Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, he said, we were so stupid. We used to make idols out of anything. And one time I had an idol made out of dates. You know dates. He had an idol, they made an idol. You're going to worship it, made out of dates. And he said, I got hungry one time and I ate it. I ate my God. So you came from that situation to one where you're worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He will not change your situation until you change, until you stop being grateful for what you have. Primarily the ni'mah of Islam. You stop being grateful for the blessing of Islam. And you may say, well, how can we stop? How can a Muslim possibly become ungrateful for Islam? I see it every day. This is one of the reasons why many Muslims leave Islam. They're not grateful for it. Oh, why does it say this in the Quran? It's 2016. Do we really have to do that? Is that applicable here? Can't we change it? Can't we modernize it? Or why do the disbelievers have this and they have that? Us Muslims, we should be like that. Here is Allah gave you something. A complete deen. The deen was complete. Allah completed your deen for you. But it's not complete for you. You want something else. You want something more. That's an indication that the person that thinks like this is not grateful for the ni'mah of Islam. And you see Allah will take Islam from them. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. Being in that type of situation. It's one of the diseases of this age. Always wanting to be in a situation other than the one that you're in. No matter what Allah gives you, you want something else. I always talk about the children in our age. It's amazing There are children who don't have parents. Neither their parents are not there, they're absent, or one is gone, or one is dead, or one is locked up, or one is strung out on drugs. And those children would love for nothing else to have both of their parents in their life. But you will be surprised. There's children that have both parents in their lives. I hate my mother and father. I can't stand them. I wish I didn't have parents. This is the situation we're in. Nobody's grateful for what they have. So Allah takes it from you. So going back to what the Sheikh said, that shukr is the qayd al-ni'mah. It's the thing that yokes and harnesses your ni'mah. It keeps it with you. And then he also said that shukr is that thing that will increase your ni'mah. You'll get more of it when you have it. And then he quoted the verse, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَكُمْ. If you are thankful, Allah will increase you. This is Surah 14, ayah 7. If you are thankful, Allah will increase you. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَكُمْ. And the beautiful thing about this verse is specific. Look at the commentaries of this verse. If you are thankful for a particular thing, Allah will increase you in that particular thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you're thankful for the job that you have, that Allah is going to bless you with a wife. It means that if you're thankful for your job, Allah will perhaps increase your wealth. Or maybe increase your position in that job. So shukr, it holds down your blessings for you, and it makes your blessings increase. Shukr. Very important. And we have a lot to be thankful for. We have extremely a lot to be thankful for. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa afdalu salatu wa atamu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa radiyallahu ta'ala an sadat al-tabi'in wa ulama al-amilin wa a'immat al-arbat al-mujtahidin wa muqalidin wa yawmiddin amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, we have a lot to be thankful for. Extremely a lot, regardless of what you think about your situation. And this is the opposite of gratitude, being ingratitude. This is what Shaitan said, that you will find most of us are not grateful. Think about how we are. I'm sure a lot of us, and if it's not us, maybe somebody we know is in this situation. Person didn't have a job. Say, man, I need a job, I need some work. Then they get an interview. Alhamdulillah, and social media makes it easy because people put their whole life on social media. So, you know, I see it all the time, you know, hey, I got an interview, alhamdulillah, make dua for me. I got the job, alhamdulillah, may Allah reward all of you who made dua for me. Keep watching. Hate this job. Oh, wait a minute, first you didn't have a job. You was asking the whole world, all of your Facebook, Instagram, all other friends to make dua for you. You got the job. You thanked everybody for their dua. And now a couple of weeks, a couple of months in the job, I hate this job. Well, you're not grateful for it? I'll take it from you. There's a whole lot of people who are more than willing to take your job. No gratitude. I'm sure we know people like that. Think about that. Something you prayed for. You lost sleep over. You were wondering how you're going to feed your children. And then you get it. then after a while you forget that you were in a situation where you were praying for this job. And I'm sure all of us have worked jobs where we knew somebody. If you listen to their words, you will swear that this person was on the next thing smoking out of that job. He talked about the job, he talked about the supervisor, how much he hated it. Man, you sure hate this job, man. How long you been working here? 30 years. Oh, man, shut up. I used to have a coworker who, he used to use profanity, but he used to say, I hate this job. And this dude, he started working after me, he became a supervisor. I'm like, man, maybe I should hate this job too. I mean, if that's what it's going to do. I actually spoke to him not too long ago. This is a long time ago. When I said, you still hate this job? He said, yeah, I still hate this job. He's still there, working. But we have to be grateful. This is something that you cannot take for granted. You have to be thankful for wherever you're at. If you're single, you should be thankful that you're single. Be happy about your marital status. Why? Because there's blessings in being single. You got time that you wouldn't have. You can concentrate on yourself. There's a lot of things you can get right with yourself. And the brothers that's single sitting there saying, no, I don't know what he's talking about. But then after he gets married, you know how we are, the same way with that job. Oh, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't think I might divorce him. I might divorce her. You see the sickness of our age? We want everything we don't have. Then when we get it, we want what we had before. Like children. The brothers and sisters that are married should be thankful that they're married. Brothers and sisters that are eating. There are people that are not eating. There are people that are not breathing. There are people that just died. The most serious thing about a lot of us, we're not even grateful for who we are. Allah created you one way. He gave you a skin color. He gave you a place of origin. And you want to be other than that. Forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that in your colors and in your languages, the variations in them is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Rum. Forget Allah said all that. I want to look like something else. Self-hatred. You're not even grateful to where Allah fashioned you. Allah is musawwir. Allah is a fashioner. Every one of us is beautiful, regardless of where you came from. Allah created you that way. And you can't stand the way Allah created you. Self-hatred. That's why a lot of us, you blink wrong, look wrong, and I could blow you away. Because you look like me. You need to move to the back. He's distracting people. Some of us, we can kill somebody else that looks like us. Because what's fueling that anger is that self-hatred. But somebody else that doesn't look like us do the exact same thing. We won't say nothing. Or maybe at best we'll protest. That's what people are missing. Regardless of the direct cause of those people that were killed. 6 of them. One of them was pregnant. 6 of them were killed in Wilkinsburg. You might just come to a barbecue and just kill people, just straight up. As I said, that happened Wednesday. On Tuesday, 6 people died in Philadelphia. This competition, Pittsburgh and Philly. One of the brothers in Philly that died, you know. It's a brother named Muhammad, white brother, Khalifa's friend from West Virginia. He got stabbed. He died, Philly. Somebody just random, just in West Philly, just went into the cricket store, started stabbing people. He was one of the people that got stabbed and died in front of his wife and children. Be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah gave you a chance to live further and repent for your sins and do more good deeds. Not everybody has that chance. Shukr is extremely important. We need to be thankful for the ni'mah of Islam. There's a lot of blessings going on that we're not even appreciating. Do you know that there was a man born in the late 1770s, not sure of his exact date. His name is, not sure of his exact date of birth. He's from Guinea. Guinea didn't exist at the time, but it's where Guinea is now, West Africa. He was captured and enslaved and brought here. His name was Bilali Muhammad. And he was first taken to the Bahamas in the Caribbean and then brought here, specifically to Georgia, those islands off the coast of Georgia, the Sapelo Islands of Georgia, as a slave. Do you know that this man had the audacity to have 4 wives? He's a slave. And that type of slavery ain't like any other slavery that I can compare to with my limited knowledge. Maybe at best, the slavery that Pharaoh did with Bani Israel. This slavery, people were not humans. People don't understand that. Slavery is going on in a lot of places in the world right now, even though they don't admit it. But the people that are slaves, they're still considered human beings. The slavery that took place here, they took away your humanity. They said you weren't a human being at all. I'm not even talking about the Constitution when they said blacks are considered 3/5 of a human being for voting purposes. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about even before the Constitution. You were considered property. You were cargo on the ship. Rum, salt, gold, niggas, cargo. That's how most of the insurance companies got their start. Insuring ships with us. Most of us Muslims that had their deen taken away from them. And that's a whole nother story. Because a lot of people started reverting back to paganism and started involving themselves with shirk. And believe it or not, in 2016, there's some people still trying to bring that back. We're going to pray to somebody else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I'm Muslim. There's a prophet after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but I'm still Muslim. That type of people are actually trying to bring that stuff back, and people are going for it. But in any case, this man who had the audacity as quote unquote a piece of property to have 4 wives. Not only that, he used to wear a red kufi like a fez. He's a slave. Proud of his deen. He's owned by somebody else. He used to walk around with his hip-hop, his dhikr beads, and his Quran. That's what he's known for. And Allah blessed him to be able to write some things from memory that he remembered. His writing, most of it is preserved to this day. You can go look at it right now. I'm not sure exactly where it's at right at this moment, but you can preserve it. I mean, it's been transferred to different libraries and different museums, and books have been written about it. But one of the things he wrote was a large section of the Risala of Muhammad ibn Abi Zayd al-Qayrawani. The same book we just finished studying, going all the way through. That book written 300 years after the Prophet ﷺ made hijrah. That book dealing with the Aqidah and all other major subjects in Islam. He wrote portions of that book from memory, and it's preserved. And it's considered the first text, the first document, fiqh text, that's been written on the shores of the United States of America. And he died at around 1860. The amazing thing about this is that he was what you would call an overseer. So he was in charge of the other slaves on the plantation. They say about 80 of them. And on 2 different occasions, he is responsible for saving people. Because at that time, the Revolutionary War was still taking place. The Revolutionary War, is the war when America was still fighting for its independence from Britain. And in this war of 1812, which is inside of the Revolutionary War, the British had to make offers to a lot of black people and said, listen, if you fight on our side, we'll give you your freedom. For whatever reason, he chose not to. He chose to fight on the side of the Americans, on the slave owners. And he told his slave owner, he said, I can account for the slaves of the true faith. In other words, because he had a Jamaa'ah there. He was the Imam, he was the Amir. He said, I can account for your slaves of the true faith. In other words, I can account for the Muslims, they ride for me. But I can't speak for the Christian dogs that you own. You know, the funny thing about it is, his descendants, some of them are still alive. And one time they spoke here at Pittsburgh, at Pitt. One of his great-granddaughters spoke at Pitt. And it's funny, because every time they get to that part in the history that everybody recognized he said, when they get to that point, they say, well, we can't verify that he said that. Well, how can you verify that he said everything else? Just that one line, you can't verify that he said, though. And you acknowledge he was a Muslim, though. So this type of intellectual dishonesty that people go through just to avoid the truth. Because if you acknowledge that, and you acknowledge your forefather was a Muslim, you have to look into yourself and say, why I'm not Muslim? Matter of fact, generally speaking, when did we become Muslim? Did we bring it from Africa? No. The same person who enslaved you gave you Christianity. But that's the topic that nobody wants to talk about. So he made that statement, and the historical record differs whether the British ever tried to enter that Sapelo Island or not. But they gave him rifles and everything. And on another occasion, a few years later, there was a big hurricane. And he saved everybody in the island by bringing them into this building that a lot of people think was a masjid. And so we're talking about Shukr. And they say that this man, he was buried with his Quran and with his Kufior. I mean, if you think about that, this is before Jim Crow. This is during the height of slavery. This is when it was capital punishment for a black person to get caught reading English or any other language. And he's manifesting his Islam like this. What about us, where they let us practice our Islam openly, but some of us find excuses to be ashamed of it, and we want to assimilate it? What about us? We're just worried about somebody snickering at us, or people looking at us funny. We need to really think about that. Are we grateful for our Islam? Are we grateful for the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us? SubhanAllah, Allah blessed us in this masjid to cover the same book, cover to cover, that slave tried to write from memory. In this masjid here. At the hands of a scholar from an area close by where he came from. That's an amazing ni'mah. That's an amazing blessing. Will we capitalize off it? Will we be grateful for that? We need to be grateful for everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, regardless of how small or how big it is. Because Allah can take it away from you. He can take it away from us. Alhamdulillah.
Imam Naeem Abdullah of Masjid Al-Mu'min and Nur Zaman Institute is available for speaking engagements. You can contact Imam Naeem Abdullah at the following: via telephone at 267-388-0823. or write him at 537 Paulson Avenue, Pittsburgh, PA 15206, or via email at imamnaeem@nurzamaninstitute.org.
Bismillah.